A second shipment of food, water, and medical supplies has crossed the border from Egypt into Gaza, and Australia's Prime Minister is planning to travel to Beijing next month. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The Israel Defense Forces say they conducted well over 300 strikes on targets in Gaza overnight as the war between Israel and Hamas continues. Israel says Hamas killed 1,400 people, mostly Israelis, when the militants attacked 2 weeks ago. Palestinian health authorities now say at least 4,600 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. A second shipment of humanitarian aid has arrived in Gaza. NPR's Jackie Northam reports from Jerusalem it was limited to 14 trucks with water, food, and medicine.
The second convoy of aid trucks passed through the Rafah crossing after a long delay. Each truck was thoroughly inspected to make sure no weapons bound for Hamas militants were on board. Relief workers say the supplies are just a fraction of what's needed for the more than 700,000 Palestinians who have fled their homes in northern Gaza to escape constant airstrikes by the Israeli military. On Sunday, President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and affirmed there would be a continued flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. That could change if and when an anticipated Israeli incursion into Gaza gets underway. Jackie Northam, NPR News, Jerusalem.
Republican Congressman George Santos will be a key vote this week as the GOP struggles to elect a new House Speaker. But the scandal-plagued congressman from New York is also expected back in federal court on Long Island. NPR's Brian Mann explains.
George Santos posted on social media that he expects to receive the longest speaker ballot in modern history this week, describing it as a historic mark for the 118th Congress. Candidates for the speakership have so far failed to receive the 217 votes needed to lead the narrowly divided House, and Santos's vote could be crucial. But if the process drags on, Santos is also scheduled back in federal court on Long Island Friday, facing new felony corruption counts. Federal prosecutors say Santos tried to rack up big unauthorized charges on the credit cards of his political donors. Santos has admitted lying to voters about much of his life story, but denies any criminal wrongdoing. Earlier this month, his campaign treasurer pleaded guilty to charges linked to her work on his campaign. Brian Mann, NPR News.
Australia's Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, says he will travel to Beijing next month. NPR's Emily Fang says he'll be the first Australian leader to visit China in 7 years.
Tensions with China escalated after Australia's then Prime Minister Scott Morrison called for an independent investigation into the origins of COVID in China in 2020. But since being elected to power last year, Albanese's government has sought to ease tensions with Beijing. He'll attend a big export fair in China next month, and China's release of an Australian political prisoner, the journalist Cheng Lei, this month, also marked a diplomatic breakthrough.
NPR's Emily Fang. This is NPR.